All right, welcome everyone to Unpack This. I am your host, the authentic coach, Gloria Bailey Ray. And as always, it is a pleasure to have you here with me today. Look, we're going to be unpacking some real stuff. And therefore, our topic today is when you can no longer pretend not to know. Yes. But before we get into this conversation, I need you to sit with this particular question. What do you know that you've been pretending not to know? Not what you're confused about, not what you're still figuring out. What do you already know, but you've been avoiding? Hmm. See, because this right here, this conversation, this is not just another episode. This is a line in the sand. Welcome to the final episode of the Authentic Woman series, season 1, which was The Awakening. This season has been about one thing and one thing only: women coming face to face with the truth that they have outgrown these old identities, these old relationships, these old roles, and in some cases, the old versions of themselves. And if you've been with me this entire season, then you already feel it, right? That shift, that discomfort, that clarity you can't unsee. See, because awakening, it's not gentle. Not at all. It's disruptive. It will make you question everything you once tolerated, everything you once accepted, and everything you once called normal. Yep. And today, we're not easing into anything. We're closing this season, season 1, with truth. Yes. Hey, if you're joining me live stream, let me know where you are in the comment section, right? I'm excited that you're here. Listen, when no one can no longer pretend not to know, you have two choices. That's right. You either honor what you see or you betray yourself to stay comfortable. And let me be clear. This episode, this is where the pretending ends. And as we close out The Awakening, season 1, I need you to understand something, ladies. What you're feeling right now is not the end, not at all. It's preparation. Because what's coming next, season 2, The Unlearning. That's right. The Unlearning, where we stop just recognizing what's wrong and we start breaking the beliefs, the patterns, and expectations that keep us sitting at tables we should have left a long time ago. So today, we close one chapter, but we do it with clarity, with courage, and with truth. So let's get into it. Let's unpack this. When you can no longer pretend not to know. Let's just start here. See, there comes a moment in every woman's life, not a loud moment, not always dramatic, but undeniable. It's the moment where the truth taps you on the shoulder and you realize, I've known this for a while. Let that sit with you. See, you knew he wasn't going to change. You knew the job stopped honoring you. You knew that friendship had expired. And you knew you were overgiving, overextending, over explaining. And yet you stayed. Mm. Not because you didn't know, but because you weren't ready to act on what you knew. And that's what we're unpacking today. Because this isn't about ignorance, this is about avoidance. I wrote in my book, When to Get Up from the Table When Love is Not Being Served, that many of us don't leave because we lack information. We stay because we are negotiating with truth. That's right. We dilute it, we reframe it, we excuse it. We even say things like, maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe this is just a rough season. But let me tell you something, and I want you to hear me clearly. Peace does not require this much convincing. Let it sit there. Peace does not require this much convincing. See, if you have to talk yourself into staying, that is your answer, right? So let's get real. The hardest part about knowing is not the awareness, it's the responsibility that comes with it. Why do I say that? See, because once you know, you can't unknow. You can ignore it. You can delay it. You can bury it. But it will sit with you. It will sit with you at dinner, in meetings, in quiet moments. Check this out. It will whisper, this is not it. And that whisper, it gets louder over time. Now, here's where we have to take ownership. Because a lot of women will say, well, I didn't see the signs. I beg the difference. No, you saw them. You just didn't honor them. And I say that with love, but also with truth. Because growth requires honesty, ladies. Yeah, it does. So let's talk about why we pretend. Why do we stay seated at tables that no longer serve us? Well, let's see. We are invested, right? You think about the time, the energy, the emotion, and you start calculating, I've already given so much. And guess what? You confuse investment with obligation. But let me correct something for you right now. Just because you've invested doesn't mean you should continue to lose. Whew. That make me want to take a breath. Whoa. Another reason we stay. You fear starting over. The unknown feels scarier than the discomfort that you've learned to tolerate. So guess what? You settle into what is familiar, even if it's misaligned. Wow. Another reason you stay, you want the potential more than the reality, right? Y'all understand what I'm saying when I say that? See, you fall in love with who someone could be, what something could become. And in fact, you ignore actually what it is. Oh, yeah, I know it's hitting you. It's hitting you in many places, but I need to be real. I said we're unpacking this. We're closing out this particular series. So let me just say this plainly, if I may. Potential is not a place you can live. I'm going to say that again. Potential is not a place you can live. That's right. You cannot build the life on one day. And here's the part that's going to hit. It's going to hit you. You know, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks for some of you. Some of you are not stuck. Let me be real. Some of you are not stuck. You are choosing to stay where you are. You know why? Because choosing yourself would require a level of courage that you haven't activated yet. But let me tell you something powerful. The moment you stop pretending is the moment your life begins to shift. Right? Because pretending, it costs you. What do I mean by that? It costs you your peace, your confidence, your clarity. It creates internal conflict. You start feeling disconnected from yourself. You're smiling on the outside, but something inside you feels unsettled. I want to tell you, that's not confusion, ladies. That's misalignment. Yeah. And misalignment will always produce discomfort. And it's not to punish you, but it's to alert you. Hello, ding, 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 ding. Your discomfort is not your enemy. It's your signal. So let's bring this back to the table, because I use this metaphor for a reason. When you are seated at a table, you are participating. You are accepting what is being offered. You are engaging in the exchange. So when love is not being served, respect is not being served. Reciprocity is not being served. And you have to ask yourself, why am I still sitting here? And I want you to answer that honestly. Not with excuses, not with hope, but with truth. See, you can hide from everybody else and everything else, but you can't hide from yourself. Because here's what I know. You don't get up when you're tired. You get up when you're clear. Clarity is the turning point. Not anger, not frustration, not even heartbreak. Ladies, I'm talking about clarity, clarity, clarity. It's the moment you say, this no longer aligns with who I am becoming. And once you reach that level of clarity, I'm going to tell you, staying becomes harder than leaving. Right? Now, let's talk about your role in this, if I may. Because we have to own our patterns. Some of us stay because we've been conditioned, and that's the operative word. We've been conditioned to endure. We've been praised for being strong, for holding it together, for making it work. Whew. This is deep. This is hard for me. But nobody told you that strength without boundaries turns into self-abandonment, right? Hear me when I say, just because you see people and they say, I've been together for 40, 50 years. And so what? If you have abandoned yourself, what does that say? Let me say this again, ladies. Strength without boundaries is self-abandonment. That's the long and short of it. Okay, so take a deep breath. So now you're strong, but you're exhausted. You're capable, but you're unfulfilled. You're holding everything together, but you're falling apart internally. Can I just say this to you, ladies? That's not strength. That's survival. That's right. Survival. And you deserve more than survival. You deserve alignment. This is my favorite word. You deserve peace. You deserve relationships and environments that don't require you to shrink to stay. Some of y'all out there now wondering, have I stayed in this and I've just shrunk myself to fit in? Right. Listen, this is your wake-up call. So what does it look like to just stop pretending? Of course, I'm the authentic coach, and it looks like this. First of all, you stop explaining away behavior that hurts you. You stop minimizing what you feel. You stop negotiating your standards. Notice I said your standards. And you stop asking the question, am I asking for too much? And you start asking, why have I been accepting so little? Ladies, come on. You've been in a peanut gallery for too long. And that's the shift. You know, have you been asking for too little, for too long? Come on now. Here's what I know. And I know this for a fact because I've been there. Getting up from the table is not easy. Why? Because leaving requires loss. loss of familiarity, loss of identity, loss of what you thought it would be. But can I reframe that for you? You're not losing. Hear me when I say this. You're making space, ladies. That's right. You're making space. And space is where your next level lives. That's right. Here's what I really want you to understand. Every time you ignore what you know, you delay who you're becoming. Do I need to say that again? Every time you ignore what you know, you delay who you're becoming. So I'm going to ask you something. And I don't want you to rush to answer this. But where in your life have you been pretending not to know? Pause right there for a moment. Where in your life have you been pretending not to know? Is it in your relationship? Is it in your career? How about your friendships? Your self-worth? Where have you been quiet when your spirit has been speaking? Oof. Here's the truth. You already know. You've known, and the longer you sit in denial, the more it costs you. But here's the good news. You don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to be honest. Why do I say that? Because honesty leads to clarity. Clarity leads to decisions, and decisions lead to change. So today, I'm not asking you to get up from the table, at least not immediately. I am, however, asking you to stop pretending that the table is serving you. That's step one. And why do I say that? Because once you stop pretending, your next move becomes inevitable. And I want to leave you with this because this is where your power sits. Hear me when I say this, ladies. You are allowed to outgrow what you once accepted. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to choose yourself. And when I say this, hear me. You are allowed to get up without permission. That's right, without permission. So when you can no longer stand, no longer pretend not to know, don't shrink, don't silence it, don't negotiate it. I need you to do this. I need you to honor it. I need you to trust it. And when the time comes, I need you to get up from the table, right? Because that life that aligns with who you truly are, It is not at that table. I'm here to tell you, it's waiting for you the moment that you decide that you're going to stand. And you will. Because deep down, you already know. Yeah, you do. So before we close, I want to come back to that question. What do you know that you've been pretending not to know? Because here's the truth. Awareness without action will keep you stuck in the same cycle. Round and around you go. And if this conversation hit you, if you felt seen, if you felt called out, if something inside of you said, yeah, it's time, then guess what? I want you to take the next step, right? In my book, When to Get Up from the Table, When Love is Not Being Served, it was written for this exact moment, not the moment you're confused about, but the moment you are clear and you need the courage to act on that clarity. Inside my book, I walk you through what it really looks like to recognize misalignment. And I told you I've been there, y'all. This series is for all of us who've been there. You know what? When you stop negotiating your worth and you finally get up from tables that were never meant to sustain you, listen, if you're in a place where you're saying, I don't just need inspiration, I need support, then that's where I come in as your coach, because clarity is powerful. But accountability, hear me when I say that, that is what creates change. And I want to tell you, you don't have to navigate this alone. You don't. Whether it's a discovery session, whether it's a consultation, or stepping into deeper coaching, I help women like you move from awareness to action to transformation. So here's what I want you to do. Don't just sit with this episode. No, don't do that. I need you to do something with it. I need you to get the book. I need you to book a session. I need you to start the work, because the longer you sit at the wrong table, ladies, hear me, the longer you delay the life that's actually meant for you, let me just tell you, never put off today what you can change. Don't put it off till tomorrow. Do it now. And as we close out the awakening, this is series 1 of the women's series, I'm going to leave you with this. You're not confused. You are clear. You've just been hesitating, but not anymore. It is my hope that I'll see you in season 2. And season 2 is titled The Unlearning, where we don't just wake up, we break free. So please like, follow, share. If this episode resonated with you or with someone that you know, please share. Follow me on all my social media platforms. This particular episode drops tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific time, on all the top major podcast platforms. I am Gloria Bailey Ray. I am your authentic coach, and I want to tell you, it has been a pleasure. I am so excited that you've been here with me. Hey, drop me a line. Let me know your thoughts. But in the meantime, ladies, I need you to stop procrastinating. I need you to get up, right? I bid you peace, love, and authenticity. Let's move from inaction to action. And unforgettable things. Be your host. Let's